What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we are continuing our look at all the new cards from Age of Ascension, the new Keyforge set, by having a look at all the new cards from Shadows. Quick look through at the cards, quick look at how good they are, how we would use them, not a complete in-depth analysis, because there's like 28 of them and it would take ages. So let's have a look, shall we? Starting off, we've got Dusk Chronicles. It's an action, it gives you an Ember bonus, and when you play it, if your opponent has more Ember than you, you draw a card. If you've got more Ember than your opponent, you archive a card. It's fine. Bit of draw, bit of Ember, could be worse. Furtive Investment is another action card that gives you another Ember bonus. When you play it, if your opponent has more Ember than you, you gain 1 Ember for each key your opponent has forged. Which means to really make the most of this card, your opponent has to have forged 2 keys and have more Ember than you. I cannot be the only one that makes nervous. Gamgee is a 2-power creature with no armor. It's got elusive, meaning your opponent has to attack you twice in order to take you down. And when you reap, if your opponent has more Ember than you, you steal 1. Now this I like very much indeed. We've seen a bunch of creatures that have an action to steal an Ember, but not usually when you reap, so I like this. Knuckles Bolton is a 3-power 0-armor creature with elusive and skirmish. That's it. But elusive means the first time you're attacked, nothing happens, and skirmish means that when you start a fight, you don't get hit back. That's pretty good. The Shadows creature is kind of good for fighting. Who'd have thunk it? Lemindra has Deploy. That is one of the new keyword skills that says you can put it anywhere you like on your battle line. It does not have to enter in a flank. It's also got elusive, and your neighbours have elusive. So what you want to try and do here is strategically place Lemindra between 2 creatures who don't have elusive, but you kind of wish that they did. And then they do. How would you look at that? Life for a Life is a very nice card. It's got an Ember bonus, it's an action, and when you play it, you sacrifice a creature to deal 6 damage to a creature. And I've seen a bunch of discussion online about whether you can sacrifice your opponent's creature. I am sure that that's not going to be the case. Got to be one of your own. But then you deal 6 damage to a creature and you've got an Ember bonus. I'm cool with this. Ronnie Wristlocks. It's a 2-power creature with no armor. When you play it, you steal an Ember. But if your opponent has 7 Ember or more, you steal 2 instead. The ideal situation here is when your opponent has exactly 7 Ember, and if they've got exactly 7 Ember, you steal 2, they go down to 5. Oh, look. Look who's not reaping next turn. Look how that worked out. Sucker Punch is an action card with an Ember bonus. It's got that alpha keyword skill, so it's got to be the first thing you play during your turn. And you deal 2 damage to an enemy creature. And if it's destroyed by this effect, you archive Sucker Punch, meaning you can then grab it out of your archives whenever you like. It's got alpha to make sure you don't soften a creature up with other effects before taking it down. Swindle has both alpha and omega, which means it is the first card you play and the last thing you do on your turn, but you steal 3 Ember. Yeah, that looks pretty gosh darn good. I think people are going to be alright with that being the only thing they do on their turn. Throwing Stars is an action whereby when you play it, you deal 1 damage to up to 3 creatures, and you gain 1 Ember for each creature destroyed in this way. Or as I like to think of it, Treble Seeker Needle. Cool. Whistling Darts, because, you know, we didn't have enough throwing weapons here, is an action with an Ember bonus, and you deal 1 damage to each enemy creature. Just be on the lookout for those things like Iron Obelisk, for instance, that really help your opponent when they've got lots of different damaged creatures. Do be wary of that. Yantzee Gang is a 5-power creature, which is a lot for Shadows, no Ember, and as I mentioned earlier, some Shadows have this. It's got an action that lets you steal an Ember. Only 1, but you know what? Sometimes 1 is enough. Sometimes 1 stops your opponent forging, and that's alright by me. Bone Rot Venom is an upgrade that gives you an Ember bonus, And the creature you attach it to, when they're used, takes 2 damage. Yeah, this is one of those upgrades that actually hurts your opponent, so you actually want to put it on them rather than putting it on your own creatures. Brenda the Fanatic, 3 power, 0 armor creature with skirmish. You can fight without taking any back. When you play it, your opponent gains 1, but when you're destroyed, you steal 3 ember. This is a kind of creature where you need to have an out so that you can destroy it whenever you want to. Stealing 3 ember is great. And it's annoying that it's actually got skirmish, otherwise you could just put it against a bigger character and guarantee it's destroyed. It's almost like the designers were thinking this through. Hideaway Hole has an ember bonus. It's an artifact, and whenever you like, you may sacrifice it, and the creatures you control gain elusive until the start of your next turn. So, next turn, all of your creatures have elusive. Yeah, that sounds like fun. Little Nif is a 2 power, 0 armor creature that has got Omega when you play it, your turn ends. Deploy, you can put it anywhere you like on a battlefield, and elusive. That's a lot. Oh yeah, and when a neighbour of Little Nif is used to fight, you steal an ember, which means you can basically be stealing 2 ember a turn. Here's the thing, it doesn't have to be a Shadows creature, which means this gives you an out to stealing during an Untamed turn or a Mars turn. That can be big, ladies and gentlemen. Merkins is a 2 power, 0 armor creature. When you play it, you choose a random card in your opponent's archives or the top card of your opponent's deck, and you play it as if it were yours. If it's a creature, it's your creature. If it's an action, you do what it says. If it's an artifact, you put it down exhausted on your side of the field. You see where I'm going with this. This could be really fun. Nightforge is a new key cheating card. Yeah, we got a key cheating card. There are a few, most of them are coming back in Wave 2 incidentally. It's got an Ember bonus, and when you play it, if you haven't forged a key this turn, you may forge a key at +4 current cost, though do bear in mind you get an Ember bonus for playing it. That's cool. Lets you forge a key for essentially 10, assuming there's nothing else altering the cost, but you've already got at least one when you play it. It does say if you've not forged a key this turn, so if you forge a key to start your turn, you're not allowed to play Nightforge. It won't let you forge multiple keys in a turn. It also means that if you've got 2 of these in a deck, or you can find a way to reuse one, you still can't use the second one, because if you forged a key this turn, no. Perplexing Sophistry is an action card with an Ember bonus, and if you have more Ember than your opponent when you play it, they discard a random card from their hand, and you draw a card. You're kind of like mocking your opponent for having less Ember than you. Ha! Redlock. 3 power, 0 armor with skirmish. Yeah, a lot of Shadows creatures do have elusive or skirmish. At the end of your turn, if you did not play any creatures this turn, you gain an Ember. But that is a permanent skill. So Shadows does not have to be your active house here. Doesn't matter who's your active house, as long as you get to the end of your turn without playing any creatures, you gain an Ember. Cool. Guard Disguise is an artifact, and it's got an action whereby you sacrifice it, and if your opponent has 3 Ember or fewer, you steal 3 Ember. I.e., get them when they don't have much Ember, steal it all in their face. Heist Knight is an action, and it's an alpha card, so it must be the first card you play during your turn. And when you play it, you steal an Ember for each friendly thief creature. Incidentally, I hope you've been paying attention as these images have been popping up on screen. The vast majority of Shadows creatures are thieves. Lethal Distraction is an action card that gives you an Ember bonus, and you choose a creature, and for the remainder of the turn, whenever this creature takes damage, it takes an additional 2 damage. Yeah, you actually want to play this and select one of your opponent's creatures, and then just deal a whole bunch of damage. Plague Rat. Now, Plague Rat is a 1 power, 0 Ember creature, though it does at least have elusive. And when you play it, each non-rat creature is dealt 1 damage for each rat creature in play. That's a lot! Now, I have heard reports that Plague Rats tend to turn up as multiples, i.e. you get more than one in a deck. That is unconfirmed. All we've got at the moment is a few people that have opened decks. I can tell you that in Age of Ascension, there is only one rat creature. It is Plague Rat. Rigged Lottery gives you an Ember bonus. It's an action, and when you play it, each player discards the top 5 cards of their deck. For each Shadows card discarded, its owner gains an Ember. Now, if your opponent's playing Shadows, and in the Archon format where you take your best deck, a lot of people are, but if they're not playing Shadows, yeah, you can clean up with this. If your opponent is playing Shadows, then it's not quite as rigged as you'd like it to be. Sack of Coins is an action that gives you an Ember bonus, and when you play it, you deal 1 damage to a creature for each Ember in your pool. So try and play this when you got a lot of Ember, would you? Scowly Caper is a 2-power, 0-armor creature with Skirmish. First time you fight, you don't take any back. And it enters play under your opponent's control and can be used as if it belonged to any house. That sounds really good for your opponent. They can use it every turn. But at the end of your turn, you destroy one of Scowly Caper's neighbours. Yeah, we're seeing a lot more you play it to hurt your opponent rather than help yourself cards in Wave 2. And that makes me rather happy. This could be fun. And finally, Shard of Greed. Each house has a shard in Wave 2. It is an artifact that does a thing as many times as you've got friendly shards. Here, the action is gain an Ember for each friendly shard. Bit of a shame it's not steal an Ember, because that's kind of what Shadows do, but still going to get you a fair bunch of Ember, hopefully. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the new Shadows cards. For me, it's Nightforge and Scowly Caper, which really stand out as phenomenal cards, but I would very much like to know which are your favourites. So please do let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk about games like Keyforge, but also a bunch of others. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.